Today's lesson is lesson 3, and it's dairy farms. Before I start, you might be interested that my dad worked and had a part in the sanitary dairy outside of Fillmore, California. Relatives of ours owned it and operated it for years. And even as kindergartners and stuff, we made field trips out there to that dairy. It was quite the experience. And so today, reading this is really kind of neat. So pay attention, and we're doing it again on dairy farms. Have you ever wondered how the milk you buy at your local grocery store gets there? Most people are vaguely aware that milk comes from cows and that cows live on farms, but that is usually where the common knowledge of where this food staple comes from stops. If you've lived most of your life in a city, you've likely never seen a dairy farm up close. Unless, of course, you live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, the largest city in the province of Saskatchewan in Canada. If you grew up there, you would have seen the large dairy farm that is connected to the university in the middle of the city. You may have seen dairy farms from time to time if you live in a city that is close to a vast amount of farmland, but most people today have never seen the inner workings of a modern-day dairy farm. Traditionally, subsistence farmers had a family milk cow. This cow would produce a calf every year, and when the calf was old enough, the farmer would separate the calf from the cow at night, and she would be milked in the morning. After milking, the farmer would turn the cow out to pasture for the day to graze and frolic. The family would use the milk for butter and to drink. When the calf was old enough to leave the cow, the farmer would then begin to milk the cow in the morning and the evening. The family would have an abundance of milk, which would be to make cheese that could cure and last a long time. While many homesteaders today often still have a family milk cow, it is not common as it is once. Commercial dairy farms have replaced the need for families to have their own milk cow. And just so you know, when I was growing up, we had a milk cow, and we had milk and made butter and stuff like that too. But we also later on got milk delivered from this sanitary dairy in Fillmore, California. They would deliver it like you see an old-fashioned milk carrier with glass bottles of milk. It was really neat to get this delivered. A day in the life of a dairy farmer. Meet Holly. Holly is a kind, compassionate dairy farmer. Each and every day of the year, her alarm clock goes off at 3:30 in the morning. By 4, she is in the barn to start her morning chores. The cows are ready when she gets to the barn, greeting her with a chorus of low moos. As she and the cows are ready when she gets to the barn, greeting her with a chorus of low moos, as she and her farmland hands begin working in the early morning hours. They bring each cow into a milking station, wipe down her udder, and hook the machine onto her tits. When all the cows have been milked, Holly and her crew clean up the parlor and head out of the milking barn to feed and water the cows before heading inside for a morning nap before the day starts. After a nap, some cows and After a nap, some coffee, and a hearty breakfast, the day begins in earnest, and the farm begins to bustle with activity. There are stalls to clean, fences to repair, calves to bottle, and milk to transport to the processing facility. At 4 in the afternoon, she'll repeat the process of hooking each cow up to the milk machines again before bedding the creatures down for night. Some dairy farmers choose to start their day a little later than Holly does and not nap in the morning, but Holly likes the quiet of the early morning and the fact that she is done milking before supper time in the afternoon. This routine works for her and her family and she loves what she does. Dairy breeds. The most common cattle breed found on a dairy farm today is the Holstein. Holsteins originally came from the Netherlands, but are now frequently found in many other places around the world. They have been bred for higher milk productions and are known for their extremely high milk yields. They are capable of producing much more milk today than they were just a few generations ago. By paying careful attention to what the animals are fed, dairy farmers ensure the cows have ideal levels of protein in their diets, which helps produce larger volumes of milk. Jersey cows are another popular dairy breed. They are much smaller than Holstein cows and are said to have a sweet disposition. Because of these factors, Jersey cows are some of the most common cows used as a family milk cow. While their production is quite a bit lower than a Holstein cow, the breed produces milk with both a higher fat and protein count than its black and white cousin. Often called Golden Jersey, the Jersey cow breed is known for the color of the milk they produce. Rather than creamy white milk, milk from a Jersey cow has a rich golden hue because of its high beta-carotene content. These cows are named after the Isle of Guernsey. You can find this isle located in the English Channel. Machinery. When the idea of industrializing farms that specialize in milk production was first introduced, most farmers milked each of their cows by hand. A skilled milker with strong hands could milk a cow in about 20 minutes, if the cow cooperated. Dairy farmers spent many hours of their day hand milking cows if they had more than just a few cows. In the late 19th century and early 20th century, there were several new inventions that promised to make milking easier and more efficient. However, many of the proposed new models actually caused injury to the cows because of the methods used. When a unique milker was created in 1922 that used a rhythmic suction method, the idea of milking by machine became a real possibility. Dairy farmers today milk their cows using machines. Milking cows by hand is uncommon on large farms. Even a small homestead can purchase a milking machine made specifically for their small herd or even just one dairy cow. In commercial dairy operations, there is a milking barn or milking parlor. This special building does not house any animals but is uniquely designed to provide a very clean environment where the cows are milked. The cows come into the parlor in an organized fashion. Their udders are cleaned and hooked up to the milking machine, and then they are milked. Today's milking machine can finish milking a cow in as little as 5 minutes, and the only labor required is the wiping down of the udder and attaching and detaching the milking machine. Storage and processing. As the milk is pumped from the cow's udder with a milking machine, it begins its journey to the consumer. First, it is transported to a holding tank. This refrigerated tank is designed to hold milk until a truck can come to transport the milk to the processing facility. The milk stays in a temperature-controlled environment from the moment it enters the holding tank until it is poured on your cereal in the morning or whipped into fluffy peaks to a smother on your fresh pie. Have you ever wondered why there are so many kinds of milk in the grocery store? Skim milk, whole milk, unpasteurized milk. What is the difference anyway? Milk naturally has a fat content. The fat content of milk from a Holstein cow is about 4% fat. If you were to take a bucket of warm milk straight from a cow and put it in your fridge, you would notice a thick, creamy layer on top in about a day. The cream or fat from the milk naturally rises to the surface. In dairy processing facilities, machinery separates the cream from the milk to produce the milk with 0% fat, 1% fat content, 2% fat content, or 3.25 or 3.5% fat content, considered whole milk in much of the world. Once these milks have the desired fat content, The fat molecules are homogenized, so they do not separate from the milk, and the milk is pasteurized to kill any pathogens that might be present. The process of pasteurization is a common topic in the dairy industry. It was first practiced because poor sanitation on dairy farms was often a cause of milk-borne illness. Today's pasteurization is considered the shelf life of milk products, so they can be shipped farther and kept in your fridge for longer. However, some people don't agree with this process because it not only kills the bad bacteria present in the milk, but also the good bacteria as well. In fact, in many areas, it is illegal to sell milk that is not pasteurized. Unpasteurized milk is also known as raw milk. What do you think? Certain dairy processing facilities produce other dairy products from the milk that is shipped to them. Cheese factories may make large quantities of cheese, like the big blocks of cheddar you might see at the grocery store, while smaller, specialized factories focus on producing just a handful of specialized cheese varieties. Some cheeses are sold fresh, but many are aged to develop their flavor and increase their shelf life. Other processing factories specialize in dairy products that are made with fermentation. Yogurt and kefir are both examples of milk that have specialized cultures added to them so they can ferment into the tangy, delicious yogurt and kefir available in a dairy aisle of your grocery store. There are factories that specialize in churning cream into butter. If you ever made whipped cream and thought it looked a little more yellow than usual, you have probably almost made butter. When cream is over whipped, the fat begins to clump together and separate from the buttermilk. This cream takes on a yellow hue. When salted and washed, fresh butter makes the most delightful addition to a hot, fresh slice of bread. To the table. Not too long ago, milk was commonly delivered daily by your local milkman. The milk was sold in glass bottles that would be dropped off at your door. You would leave your empty bottles out where they would be exchanged for fresh milk the next day. Today, however, the most common way to get your milk is to go to the grocery store to buy it in a carton, a jug, or even a bag. Once milk has been processed and packaged, you can find a whole array of delicious dairy options in the dairy aisle of your grocery store. Milk on your bowl of cereal is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to dairy products. Whether it's sweet ice cream or fermented yogurt, creamy, mild mozzarella cheese, or sharp, tangy blue cheese, there are hundreds of products available to try in the dairy aisle, thanks to dairy farms. Your hands-on activity is research how to make butter, cottage cheese, or yogurt. Choose one to make together as a family. Does it taste different from the product you buy at the grocery store? And that concludes Lesson 3 for today.